truth to me is living my happy, fulfilled, and authentic life, and asking myself the sometimes very hard questions. Is this right for me? Do I adhere to that way of looking at things? And being honest about how I feel and what I want to say, just in life and in general, and knowing that not everybody has got the same vision as me, the same point of view as me, and that's okay too. That's absolutely okay too. But my truth is not necessarily their truth, but my truth allows me to be me, allows me to be happy and fulfilled. And so it did take me a long time to learn that, actually, a long time to stop. I think in childhood, it's ingrained into us a lot. The peer group or your religion or what you should do and the rules that we are living by, what is, a group thing. But it took me a long time to realize that my truth isn't necessarily that truth. So to be brave enough to speak up for what I believed and what I wanted and how I felt, and not to really, I mean, obviously I listen to others' point of view and opinions, but I choose myself what is right for me now. And it did take a long time, because I was always trying to be, not always trying to be, that's the wrong word. I was living, trying to make others happy. In their eyes, I should have been something, and I was trying to be something that I just really wasn't authentically for many years. And whenever I do that, whenever I try and be something that I'm not, that's the epiphany, because it gets to the point where I can't do that anymore. And I'm talking myself in my own eyes. Like, my dad always wanted me to be a lawyer because he's a lawyer. But I'm really nothing like a lawyer. I like what's fair and what's just. So that's in me. I'm not aggressive. I'm not argumentative. I'm not. Yes, I can fight for the other person, as in, like, if I believe that that's the truth for me. But I'm not. I can't do. I don't want to do what I don't believe in, and. So I was never going to be a lawyer. And when I was doing my light lead stuff, the way we started doing it was because we believed in what we were doing. That was the truth. It was the reality. And then I got into a whole world of people and business that I didn't want to be in. And that was not my truth. And so all the years that I did that, it built me up to the point where I just didn't want to do it anymore, because I didn't want to be in that world. And so once I admitted the truth to myself, because I was feeling it inside all the time. My truth, if I'm fighting against my truth internally, I just feel, I feel like a knot in my stomach, and just a constant unease and a frustration and an anger with myself. And it's not until you speak to that anger and find out what is behind the anger, what is the truth, what's it trying to tell you, and you start listening to what it is, that's when you find out your truth, and you've got all the answers inside you that you need. This is what our whole podcast is about. We already have our answers. We just have to listen and ask the questions. So for me, truth is listening to what's real for me. And that's really my truth. Did that make sense? Good.
Yeah, you did. But just to dive a little bit more, if there was a symbol for that, what would it be for you?
A symbol?
Yeah, an image.
What, for truth or for
truth? Yeah, when you say truth.
Oh, do you know, the first thing that comes into my is the peace sign. The peace sign. That's the first symbol that comes to my head.
Interesting.
And the yin yang as well. Yin yang. I'm getting them two. Let's put them together.
Nice. And when you say truth, where do you feel it in your body?
Truth. all over. It tingles.
I see. Good.
Yeah. And I do. I really do try and live by my truth, who I am authentically. And when I don't know, I just get a bit detached and a bit, well, I don't tend to go far from my truth anyway, because I don't want to live like that. So I kind of like pull myself in anyway. So yeah, I mean, if you can't live your own truth, then you're avoiding things in your own life that you need to kind of like look at. I think it's avoidance.
Yeah.
So yeah, truth. Linda.
So truth. So I have an interesting story about truth. When Lucinda was, so how many years ago? When Lucinda was about 10, so 24 years ago.
Wow. You're only 21, Linda.
Yes, of course I am. I was chuntering on, I was drying the cutlery and chuntering on about someone who had said to me, "Oh, you can trust me, I won't lie to you." And I was chuntering on saying, you know, who says that? For goodness sake, who says that? I don't trust her. Because we don't go about saying that. What does she feel the need to say it? I don't go about saying, "You can trust me, I won't lie to you." Lucinda says, "But Mum, you do lie." And I thought, I do. Because at that time, I would be prepared to tell, a white lie. There's no colours to lies, but what I thought was a lie of convenience. That's what I would do. Forgotten the dentist. Now it's too late to get there. The car's broken down. That's what I would do. So from that moment, I thought, I cannot be a liar. My daughter can see I'm a liar. And it's before I was a Christian. It took me 6 or 7 years to never tell a lie. And now I do not tell a lie. I never, so you can trust what I say because it won't be a lie. And in my, and also, so as a Christian, there's that wonderful thing that Paul wrote about in Ephesians, Susanna, Ephesians 10.
Wow.
No, not Ephesians 10. Anyway,
impressive,
put on the armor of God.
Right.
And so it's the helmet of salvation and the belt of truth. And if you dive into those things and what's the shoes of something, and you've got the shield of faith and the sword. If you think about the belt of truth, then it's the belt of truth because you need to be surrounded by truth.
Yeah.
If you are surrounded from what's possible for you, so from your perspective. So that's what I do by not ever lying. I surround myself with truth. My life is built on a foundation of truth.
Yeah.
Wow, it's beautiful. It vibrates.
Mm-hmm.
Because there will be no hidden lies. There's no need to wonder what I said to somebody, and they say, don't you, to have a good memory if you tell lies to people. I just don't lie. I'm not unkind, so if my friend says, "Does my bum look big in this?" I don't say, "Yes, you've got an arse like like the Heineken." No, I don't say that.
You're tactful. Tactful, not tactical.
It's been such a learning curve. There's such beauty in truth. So what is the truth then? what can I say to her? So I can say, well, I think that other dress, that thingamy dress, I think that suits you better. And there's never any need for a lie. This is what I've learned. There's never any need for a lie. There's so much choice of truth, so much choice of truth. So let's say she's got ready to go to a party and she's just going and it's time to go out the door. What's too late? You know, she's staying with me and she's not brought that dress with her that I like. So what do I say then? Well, then I say, you will be absolutely fine. You'll have a great time.
Yeah.
Because that is another truth, isn't it?
Of course.
Don't worry about your dress. Don't worry about what you look like.
Yeah.
Just go and have a great time. So there's that in my personal life. In my therapy life, I've come to see this, that if we are not working with the truth, we are not working on the problem.
You're not working through
the problem will never be resolved if we're not working with the truth. So we search and we search and we search for the truth. And where it might not come out is, you know, we say things like, you know, because my husband's he always says to me, well, does he? Does he always say this? Or because it's important.
Yeah.
If he always says that, well, that's one situation. If at every verse end he says that, but does he always say it? Or does he say it when you have said something else? Or does he say it when he's tired? Because, you know, then you get the right perspective, don't you? And without the truth, then, well, you're not working on that problem. You're working on something that doesn't exist, aren't you?
Yeah.
It doesn't exist if it isn't the truth.
Yeah. The truth can make you feel very vulnerable as well, and it's to allow that vulnerability, because that vulnerability is the strength.
Yes.
Isn't it?
Yes, it is. And just to add, I'm working with someone at the moment who believes, so I need to be clear about this truth as well in my work. He believes that he knows that when he was he's Chinese, and when he was born, his mother was working, she was the leader of a team of women working in the fields, and his grandparents were unable to look after him, and that's what usually would have happened, but they were unable to, and so she had to take him with her and put him at the side of the field.
Wow.
And just come back to him when she could, in break times and so on. And he told me that it's very competitive. So whatever work they were doing, I don't know what kind of, I mean, it might have been paddy fields, it might have been rice, I don't know. But whatever it was, they were competing with each other. I suppose they got paid more the more they did. And so nobody had time to be looking around and checking him. And he believes that he remembers this.
Oh, I believe that too.
Yeah. Now, he may do. He may not. He may have remembered it because he's been told it by his mum. He may, but so this doesn't matter. The truth of the problem is not whether he really remembers it or he doesn't. The truth of the problem is he feels it as if he remembered it. Yeah. So we are working on truth there, even though it may be he wouldn't have been able to remember it at that age. But he remembers, he can feel the discomfort. And he's talked about that a lot. He can feel the discomfort. He can feel being neglected. He felt, well, that's all we need, isn't it? We don't need a certificate to say, yes, it's possible for him to have remembered it.
It's funny that you say that, because Ethan, like, he's 11, isn't he? But he remembers his bedroom, how it was when he was born in the cot. He describes it. I mean, we remember, I think we block out things as we get older, and they become, you know, as part of our history, and, you know, in our bags that we carry with us, or, you know, or in our life story. But they're there, you know, right from the baby, where they're there. Susie.
Well, could I just say something else? Sorry, and then we go.
Yeah.
My twins were born 10 weeks early, and they were not expected to survive, and they did. They're now 40 something. And Lizzie, who we've done timeline with, we have been back to. She's been a very anxious person, child and adult, all her life. And she was, Vicky was born first, and then Lizzie was not ready. She was right up here. Twins should be ready. The second should be ready, tucked in behind the first. Contractions stopped. So I was given a general anaesthetic, and they went to maybe do a cesarean. In fact, they didn't. They got her out once I was relaxed. But she remembers, she remembers that time when Vicky was gone. It was 45 minutes.
Wow.
That she was alone.
Wow.
In the womb.
Amazing.
And she says, I thought, as best she could have thought, she felt Vicky would have died. That baby must have died then.
Oh.
And she has coped very badly with death, or the threat of death, or pets dying.
Wow.
So
did she resolve that on the timeline?
Do you know, I don't know. I'm thinking now we could go back
to that point.
To that point again. There's probably more work to do. We did do some work, but there's more work to do, because now she has a baby who, with a heart defect. It's been repaired, but there's forever a question mark, isn't there? She can't relax into that. Oh no, she's perfectly normal, healthy baby. So yeah, we could go back to that. So you're probably right. That how else would Lizzie know that?
Exactly.
If she wasn't in the right state of mind, when she was in the right state of mind, remembering it.
Right at that birth, separation anxiety, and it just transmitted into anxiety generalized.
Yes. And I hadn't thought. The other thing she suffered from a great deal is homesickness.
Oh.
When she's loved to travel, but whenever she's traveled, very often her trips have been ruined with homesickness.
Interesting.
Because it's that, being away from
from
what feels safe and away from family.
There you go. Love it. Oh, Susie, you little gorgeous, beautiful angel sitting on my screen.
Oh my goodness, I take all this in.
Good.
A little comment for what Linda said. Regarding you saying the truth. This is something that is perspiring out of you. This innocent, beautiful innocence. And this is what I've been admiring since the beginning. So you said the truth about you saying the truth all the time, because it's something so beautiful in this very humble way of presenting yourself. You never come out and look, I know the answers. I have the solution for that. You are acting from your own weakness and your own vulnerability. And this is so beautiful. I was always scared, actually, of people who say, I have the truth. I know what the truth is. And, I never lie. So yeah, just a little parenthesis. You're fantastic. And I love you for that. I love you for many reasons, but this is indeed something that just emanates from you.
Thank you.
And it's beautiful.
There is a little bit of my northernness as well.
Yeah.
In the north, we are frank.
Frank,
We are
yeah.
always
So
frank.
culture
Yes.
sometimes helps.
Yes.
So coming back to the, and also when you were talking about always saying the truth and the quote from the Bible, probably we all know these three questions. I don't remember if they're Buddhist or not. If they're not, please correct me. These three questions that one needs to ask oneself before saying something. Is it true? Is it kind? And is it necessary?
Oh, I love that. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So because there is a lot of confusion, of course, about truth, like with everything else. We are always confused. And sometimes we tend to believe that saying exactly what I feel, when that could be a judgment, is saying one's truth. Like, I'm fed up with you, Linda. If I tell you I'm fed up with you, this is telling my truth. It's not that simple, because that might not be the truth.
No.
The truth is somewhere a little bit beyond, and truth is in layers. There is the truth that we can recognize through our sensorial perception. There is the truth of an affirmation. There is a truth in the choice of the words, and there is the truth out there. There is Jesus's truth, right, for Christians. So there is a truth out there, obviously, that everybody's looking for, right? We all search for that. And when we say, that's why I asked you, Danielle, I asked you, how does it feel for you? Because we are talking about a concept, like we all agree here, the truth, like as I say this word, is a concept, right? But surprisingly, when we say it, we all kind of know what we're talking about, even though nobody actually can point the truth, nobody can touch the truth, even though we all have our own interpretation and our own image or pictures or sensations of the truth. We know what we're talking about, just like we talk about love. Nobody can really define love. Nobody can really touch love or describe love, but we feel it.
Yes.
So for me, truth is part of who we are. And in the yogic and the Vedic knowledge or philosophy, basically the authentic state of a human being is described by three Sanskrit words, which are Sat, Chit, and Ananda. Sat is truth, Chit meaning consciousness, and Ananda meaning bliss.
Wow.
So our being at its essence, as described by the Vedas or by the yogic knowledge, is truth, consciousness, and bliss. This is who we are. And deep down, no matter how many layers will be there around us, no matter how much IA technology will be there, that's my obsession.
That's amazing.
There will always be this need and this search for the truth. This is what animates us, makes us feel alive. And this is why I also asked you earlier about how do you feel, because truth to me vibrates. You see, there is a limitation in the way we're choosing our words.
Yes.
Sometimes I want to say something, but the words are not the right ones.
Yeah.
But there is always a truth that is beyond those words. And sometimes, even though people do not choose the right words, you can feel that vibration of the truth, because truth vibrates, because truth is the essence of who you are. So whenever we are exposed to the truth, it tingles. Whenever we are exposed to a lie, whatever that is, the lie being the opposite of truth, let's say, or the lack of truth, it doesn't feel good. So pain or suffering or our problems mainly come because of our lack of truth or access to the truth or expression of this truth in our lives. That's my logical explanation. Everything, when we look at the world, I think what's going on in the world today, it makes it easier to accept it when you understand that people are actually fundamentally searching for that, and that they do not have the ability to access it and to express it properly. And I have many other things to say, but I will probably do that later when I would like to do a little practice.
I'd love that. I'd love that.
To the practical thing. But one more thing I would like to add, and that idea came to me when Linda talked about how she's using it in her sessions, looking for the truth in one session. I had a client of a while ago, a beautiful, wonderful colored lady from America. And she was in a very, very difficult situation. She didn't have any more place to live. In America, it can get quite hard when it comes to health insurance. And with when you have no money and you have no more insurance, you have no more job, you can literally live on the street. So it's quite tough out there from what I perceive. And she was living with her little boy in the car. Okay. And poor soul, she decided to pay for a session with me to invest her money in order to get over that. So I loved her for her trust that she gave me. So I had this responsibility now to make it happen fast. So I said, listen, love, we have to work on this and it has to happen fast because I don't want to take more money from you. I want this to be done so that you get out of this situation fast. And in her story, the main problem from what she was saying was that her father used to be a sort of I don't know, in America, there's many ministries and many religions, like Christian religions and denominations. And her father used to be a sort of a minister in a church like this. But he was very, from what she was saying, he was very strict.
Yeah.
And, he was taking the truth of the Bible literally. And she grew up in this environment where she was a sinner if she was not doing what the father was saying. So she was very much suffering because of that. And she was punished because of that. And she grew to hate her father. And so she believed that all the problems that she was experiencing was coming from that, which was partially truth. So the way we worked with it, I said, let's look at the truth. Just let's keep asking, what is the truth about this? And with the help of a few NLP techniques, including one in which she goes back in the past and she goes up and she dives into her father's experience in one of these particular moments when she felt that she was mistreated and abused. She got to have a completely different vision. And of course I mentioned, and I brought the forgiveness word, the F word into the conversation. And she's like, I can't forgive him. This is nothing that I will never forgive. I don't love him. And I could hear that was a lie. As a therapist, when they express a truth and when there is a lie for themselves, not for me, but for themselves. And after we did this, well, it was not right after, but I got an email or I think it was a message on Skype a few weeks later. She said, Susanna, it's finished. I understood. I really love my dad. Because she said, I don't love my dad. I said, really? Is that true? I cannot love him for what he did. I'll never forgive him. I can't forgive him. And then she wrote me after. She said, now I see the truth. I saw that he did the best that he could with what he had at the moment. And now she was back to her father and she took her baby home and then they were living there with them and just waiting for her to find a solution. So this was not necessarily what I had intended for her because I didn't have any other intention with her, but for her to see the truth. And the truth is the most direct way to heal, if there is such a thing. The only healing that happens is reaccepting the truth, going back into the truth. And sometimes there are layers and layers and layers. But the one last thing that I want to say is that why we suffer so much and there's so much pain in everything, like in so many aspects, is because all these are lies after lies after lies after lies. And all the philosophical paths and all these disciplines that are today, they all have this set of truths that they based on. And access consciousness, remember the access consciousness questions that I've done with you the other day, they one of their statements is like this: truth will always make you feel lighter. and the lie will always feel heavy. So if the next conclusion, when you're in your path of healing, you see things like that, and then you understand this, and then you understand this, and every layer, if the layer is not yet vibratory, it's still not truth. So it's another layer of another lie, and then you have to go layer after layer until it vibrates, and until you don't have to say anything, you don't have to think anything, because truth simply is, because truth vibrates, and then you're just alive.
That's a beautiful thing. And you know what? That's exactly what it was. It was a limiting belief, wasn't it? It was limiting beliefs that was just holding her back. And once she conquered that limiting belief and looked through those eyes of perspective, those powerful eyes that we all have, everything kind of like she forgave herself, I suppose, and forgave him, or whatever forgiveness was needed. The limiting beliefs just disappeared. And then she was free. She was free to live her truth. I think that's wonderful.
Yes, you're right. Because the limiting belief is, because he treated me that way, I am now this way.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's bloody brilliant. And also, I was going to say something else from what you were saying before, which was so eloquently put and brilliant. Both of you are actually amazing.
So are you.
Oh, togetherness. But body language, you can instantly tell. You were talking about body language. You can instantly tell when someone's being truthful or whether they're lying, because truth is a very open, it's a very open, they're open with your body, they are open with their bodies, their eyes are relaxed, their aura is calm, there's no restrictions, it's just the flow. Someone that's telling the truth, you feel it. And when someone's holding back and telling a lie, they're normally very closed off. Their arms are tight, or their body, their muscles are tight, or their eyes look away, you know, and they can't look you straight in the eye. And there's a restriction in that flow. And lies always, it's a natural reaction. That's who we are as a human soul and a human being. We are that person. We if we lie, it will naturally happen, you know. And I think, well, that's why they do. Is it the FBI or the CIA or whatever? I think I've been watching too many FBI things, haven't I? But like they use a lot with that body language, and it's just the tiniest little flickers, you know, the tiniest.
And sometimes I've got another story. When I was in my previous business, and I was doing hair extensions, fitting hair extensions, so I'm there with a client, and a lot of years ago now, and she, I knew she was trouble because she felt I was absolutely amazing, over the top amazing, and I learnt over those years, there's going to be a moment when I am utterly useless. If she's, I used to do the same thing every time for her, and she would say, oh, that last maintenance, it was amazing. Well, I just did the same things every time. So I knew there was a time coming when, and there was, when she said, oh, that last maintenance, I don't know what you did, but it was awful. Well, I did this, you know, the same thing. And the fact was, she was not using the products I recommended to keep the hair good. So I said to her, have you, now I knew because she had to order them from me, directly from me. They were nowhere online. They were my own range of products, and they were not on my website or on Facebook to buy. She had to ask me, and I had to take them. But to be polite, I said, what products are you using? Oh, she said, I'm using yours. And she turned to face me and was standing absolutely rigid, arms down by her sides, and her eyes were wide open and fixed. No blinking. There was no blink occurred. Her cheeks were red. And she said, yes, I got them online. Now, you know, she's a client. It's not my place to embarrass her, call her a liar or whatever. So I just went, because I know now how to deal with, as well as knowing how to deal with the truth, I know how to deal with lies. So I said, oh, well, in that case, then you will need some extra products. Normally those products are enough, but you will need some extra then.
So when somebody's lying, how would you suggest to deal with a liar? How would you suggest, Susie?
Well, you know, when I talked about lies and truth, I also refer to a lie, which is that which opposes the truth, in a sense that of belief, right? So I'll answer your question anyway, but just to make clear that I'm not talking necessarily only about what somebody's lying consciously, like, you know, they intend to lie and they lie to you.
Yeah.
But we can recognize those lies that people are telling themselves. But so this is the recognition I was talking about earlier. Most of my clients, I never actually had a client that was lying intentionally to me.
I'm not talking about clients. I'm talking if someone's in a relationship that is maybe not the best for them, and their partner is, or their friend, or whatever it may be, or their child even, is blatantly lying to them. How do you approach someone for the truth? How do you get that truth from them?
Well,
or say, how do you say that you know that they're lying without having to say you're lying, which is, aggressive.
Sometimes you really have to say that, know that you're lying, especially if you're, why don't you tell me the truth instead, something like that. But it depends if it's the person lying to me, or if I do a therapy with somebody who has to deal with somebody who's lying. This is what I didn't get, what you were asking me.
Right. Well, I'm saying, do you know, Linda, what I'm saying? So say, I mean, how I approach things, if someone's lying, I always third party. I say, is that, so if Ethan's telling me a little makeup lie, say something like that, I always say, is that Ethan's world? And then I'll stop it in its tracks. They'll go, oh, yes.
I worked in another life as well. I've had a few of them. I worked with young homeless.
Right.
In a hostel and in hostels, various hostels. These were, the one I'm thinking of is there were 25 young men in this, under the age of 25, in this hostel. Their lives were not going well. They were they would have been traumatized in their childhood, undoubtedly, and many of them had really suffered, and they turned to drink and drugs to make themselves feel better, and lies, drink, drugs and lies. And so I learned then how to deal with that. We were support workers. Our job was not to call them out on a lie.
That's right.
That was not useful. And I would never, I didn't do it with her, did I? I took her, I did exactly. I thought, what did I used to do in the hostel? Well, you take it to its natural conclusion. And so we used to say, how can you tell one of the lads is lying to us? Because their lips are moving. You could say that. They were very fond of a lie. And so, how are you doing? How are you doing, Mark, today? I'm starving. I've had nothing. I've had no food for 3 days. I haven't eaten for 3 days. Oh, what? Why is that? Well, because my money didn't come through. Are they waiting for anything from you? Is there a, have they written to you? What? Why is that? No, there's nothing. No. Oh, right. So, come in then. Come in. Come on into the office, and I'll phone them. I'm going to get this sorted out for you, because that's not right. That's not right at all. So and then before I've dialed, oh, well, there might be a letter.
Yeah.
Well, let's get that dealt with. There was never, we could not afford any condemnation for those boys. they had been abused and condemned, you know, up to that point. In our care, we would never call them out on anything. We would, you know, it's like respectful parenting. I did not do that. I wasn't raised that way and I didn't know about it. Lucinda is an expert in it, and it is the kindest, gentlest, most effective kind of parenting. And so what I would say then, because I've discussed it with her, if I'm with her boys, or mostly her younger boy, and if he is saying something that doesn't seem like it's the truth, so I said, what do you do then? And she says, oh, you just can say, oh, that's what you think. Is that what you think? No, that's what you think. That's it. Quite precise. She said, oh, that's what you think, is it? Just leave it there. Because he's entitled to, isn't he? He's entitled to think something that isn't correct.
I like that.
There's a few kind of principles go along with it. There's a principle that in our family we are always kind. Yeah. So sometimes if what he's saying is both untrue and unkind about someone else, then you can say, is that kind? But I don't think there's any need.
I like that.
My last story, my youngest grandson, he's going to be 4 in August. He is having a field day with lying at the moment. She can hear, he's helping his dad to empty the bin. She can hear the sound of a bin bag being kicked. And then he takes it out to his dad to put in the dustbin. And his dad says, oh, there's a hole in this bin bag. Oh, I don't know how that got there, Daddy, says Oliver. I don't know how got that. I didn't kick it, Daddy. I didn't kick it at all. It must be Elton. That's the cat. I think it was Elton that's done it.
Of course.
And then he says, I had lasagna. She knows what he had for his dinner because of what's in the fridge, and if his dad fed him.
Yeah.
He knows what there is and what there isn't, and what she told his dad to give him. He says, I had lasagna today, Mummy, but don't tell Daddy. Because he knows his dad will say, no, I didn't give him lasagna.
That's hilarious. Do you know what? So the thing is, if someone's being lied to in a relationship, I think the most important thing to know, like I'm talking about a romantic relationship or a personal relationship that you're on a very close level. I think the most important thing to do is just trust that you're right and that just trust that, because you can't make someone else do anything. All you can do is trust yourself and
your truth.
Your truth, exactly, Susie. Yeah. So I mean, that's their world. If that's what they're going to do, and if that's how they're treating somebody, you cannot change that. All you can do is change how you're feeling about the situation and choose how you want to progress forward with that situation out of your own truth.
Yes,
exactly. And also decide how you position yourself to that and stick to that. Like, can you go on with that, or this is something that you do not accept? And then you should have the power to say it. Or else, find somebody who helps you develop that strength and say it. Well, this is not how I want. I can respect you for who you are. I prefer the truth. And this is an important aspect for me. And I no longer want to be in this relationship. I mean, you really have to make up your mind in terms of what is important to you in a relationship. If you want to be lied, there's one thing, and that's a possibility.
That's very, very right. Yeah, that's right. So to end things off in this session, I'd like to say, how do we find the truth? Susie, you wanted to do a technique. How do we find our own truth?
Yeah, well, you see, there's one thing that I wanted to add because it came to my mind and it's important. I've done an interview for my Beautiful Mind channel.
Yeah.
With a wonderful lady. She has blows your mind. Her mind blows your mind, blows yours away.
Anyone that doesn't know, Susanna has her own YouTube channel called Beautiful Minds, isn't it? And go and check it out. It's brilliant. She does amazing interviews. Amazing.
Interviews, yeah. Yeah, and I interviewed both of you as well.
Yeah, well, of course.
So anyway, she's very conceptual. I mean, she's dealing with concepts quite easily, and I think this is what was fascinating for me. It will be out next week, I guess. And she told me something because I asked her, who are we? What are we? And she said something which actually really fell inside, and it felt like a truth. She said, I am what I create.
Yeah.
So the truth is not necessarily in the interpretations of who I am. It's not in the interpretation of the world, is in what I actually create and bring forth in this world. And she said something else which was very beautiful as well. She says, I create when I make the unknown known.
Oh.
So when you bring something from that which I'm not yet, and I bring it, and it's created and it's manifested. So I think truth is more about what I create out of this, rather than wanting to find a truth that is pre-existing in a given problem or situation that we're dealing with. So this is where your truth will be in therapy. The truth will be on how that powerful mind of yours, that magnificence of being, will be able to create something within this given circumstance.
Beautiful.
I don't think it's something that will be set in stone, like the truth about this is this, or the truth about that, even though there is a truth that can be known. And also the masters of the Vedic science talk about a truth that can never be known. And I'm fine with that. I don't have to know everything. But it will be rather a truth that will come from within you, and it will be manifested and created, the product of this situation that you're dealing with. What do you create out of this? What do you bring into manifestation out of it? Do you bring that love? Do you bring that beauty? Do you create something? Or you just say, I want to be healed of this problem, and I've been abused and I want to be healed. Well, that healing, that truth will be your own creation, because we are so unique. Each of us, there is no two Susannas, there's no two Danielles, there's no two Lindas. We are one, incredible, isn't it? We're 7 billion, almost 8, and each of us is unique.
Yeah.
Well, it's that uniqueness that will be your truth. The creation through that unique mix of all things that you have ingested, that will be your truth. And the way I work with it, to answer your question, and this is at another level, I usually work, for instance, with this question, what is truth about this? So let's say, can anybody give me an example just to do it easier? So think of something that gives you a situation that you would like to fix, or...
Okay, well, the pandemic, what's the truth in it? What's the truth in it? Not the pandemic, but like what? Well, that's going to the unknown, I suppose. No, we're going into the unknown. I don't know.
Well, I'll give you an example with a client that I had then, and she just had a boyfriend. She's very young. She's from Ukraine, and she's a fantastic. It's so cool to work with. 23 years old. My goodness, they're full of energy and they're happy and they're laughing and they're joking. And so she said, "I just found Susanna. We've been working on this for a few sessions now. I finally found someone. But you know what? I did this, and we went out, and I did this, and sorry, babe, screwed it."
Yeah.
Oh my God, I can't believe I'm such a loser. So, so we did some tapping to clear that response, clear that emotional response. And then I said, okay, let's look, what is truth about it? And she said, well, the truth is that I've been a stupid and I did this. No, okay, let's take all the emotional part. Let's take all the interpretations, because you can. Everybody has this power to come out of the emotion and go into a more rational way. Tell me what happened without any interpretation, the truth, the simple truth of this. She says, well, we went to the restaurant, then I did this, and I said, then what? What happened? She said, nothing happened. The rest was a story.
Yeah.
That she was telling herself. So I said, okay, you went to the restaurant, you did this, and
Yeah.
she said, well, next time I go, I will not do it anymore. So this is a way, but this is, well, okay, for simple things, but just as one aspect on how you can work with the truth. Ask yourself this question. What is the truth actually about this? What is the truth about this particular situation? And try to take out as much as you can, because you can write down your answer, and the answer will be usually very long and full of emotions and full of names you give to things and full of interpretations and attributes and qualities and like absence of qualities, and then try to rewrite that facts only.
Yeah.
What actually happens? What's the truth? And then with that, very short, because it's going to be a very short sentence. Okay, what can you do with that in a very short sentence? Without emotion, without interpretation, without anything. So that's one way that I use working with the truth.
I love that. And also, if you have something that's making you angry or fearful, if you can write that down and maybe go let your emotions guide you to where that is in your body and ask the questions, talk to it, find out what it is exactly, specifically about what's it trying to tell you, what is that anger trying to tell you. Very often you're going to get the answer, very often, because you're confronting that fear rather than trying to chase it away. And you can do the same with happiness as well. If you're already happy about something, you can ask what exactly specifically is making me feel this happiness. So and you can take action from that. So when you get your answers, you can take the action to change things, once you've got that place of, oh, well, it's because of this that I'm feeling this.
Not necessarily, I mean, in my work, I don't necessarily want to understand why. I think it's just that exposure to the truth is like an exposure to the light. And then just the light goes there and it just makes everything vanish. And hearing you now, I thought that actually the now state, because I use that a lot.
Oh, yeah, the now
person
state.
In the now state. You go into the now state. If you don't know how to do it, you can probably check our previous video. You go into the now state. You think of your so-called problem and ask the question, what is the truth about this?
Very true.
And then wait. And then maybe you have it right away. Maybe you have it in 5 minutes, in a couple of hours, and within the next week, or maybe it will be in a year from now, but something will happen and you will have an awareness of something. Truth is an awareness. It's not an answer. It's not a phrase. It's not another emotion. It's not another interpretation. Truth is a state.
Yes.
Truth is vibration. And when you're there, you don't need to think of it anymore.
Beautifully put. And what a beautiful way to end this chat. Oh my gosh. Lovely. Thank you, ladies. Beautiful. Yet again, that is the truth. So we are all wishing you the most beautiful weekend. I hope you are living your truth. I hope you are finding your truth and surrounded by truth, because that's what we all want and need in our lives. Yeah, we are, right? And take a little listen to our trust episode, which is out now on our realtherapypodcast.com. So go and check that out on all your favorite platforms, and share with anyone that you feel might benefit from this. And as well, if you've got any questions that you ever wanted us to talk about and discuss, then just let me know. Drop me a message or on the comments, please do. And sending you a happy, sunny, beautiful weekend to all of you out there. So big kisses, and we'll see you again. We will. Lots of love. Let's end the live, and it is stopped. Yay! Stop recording.